What's up, YouTube? Eugene here. And I've got 5 fragrance recommendations for the month of November. And I know I'm behind, but I figured better late than never. And I've been wearing these already extensively. I've already reviewed one of the perfumes. 1 or 2 I've talked about before. And, you know, there might be a 1 or 2 that I haven't said so much about. But the weather here in Toronto's gorgeous. People are out in shorts, short sleeves. The weather's been really nice all weekend long. We might get a couple of more days like this, but my windows are all open, like fully open. I've got a nice fresh air breeze coming through here, so it's absolutely stunning. And I haven't had to pull out my heavier hitters, and that's a good thing because the weather gets a lot worse here January, February, March, so I usually reserve my beast mode for that time of year and that kind of thing. Anyway, so I've got 5 perfumes. I've got my rag here because I'm OCD about fingerprints on my bottles. I've got a little bit of oils and creams and lotions going on after my shower, but let's get into this. So the first one I want to talk about, and this is Cartier's, this is Santos de Cartier Eau de Toilette. I think this is a vintage bottle, and I found this for dirt cheap. This was a tester bottle. I believe I paid $50 for this Canadian, and it's probably one of the best $50 perfumes I've ever got. And wow, this is an old school classic masculine chypre, and it is spicy, it is warm, it is fresh, it's earthy, it's green, it's got that really beautiful contrasting citrus, patchouli, oak moss. It's very leathery, it's dry, it's ashy, it's not too sweet, a little bit balsamic, but this really pops on the skin. And you know, this might be a sin to some of you, but I find this a little bit more exciting than Encens, and they're both very, very similar, kind of dry, leathery chypres, but Encens might be a little bit more animalic with the beeswax castoreum. I feel like this does have a little bit of those dirty notes in the dry down, but they're much slighter. They're much, you really got to dig into it to find them. So it's probably like a civet and a castor, but I find the Encens a little bit more dirtier, but this, at the end of the day, I find like it's pleased my senses just a little bit more, but a fantastic chypre. I love this. You know, for $50, it's a steal. I'm not sure what modern Santos is like, but if it's anything like this, it's absolutely gorgeous. So much citrus, but citrus with depth. It's not just boring banal citrus, you know, like a lot of freshies. Citrus and spice. A lot of colors, a lot of textures, a lot of tones to this. And this is my favorite type of chypre, just like a woody, leathery chypre with tons of contrast. Here's another chypre, but it's less woody, and this is a floral chypre. I did review this last week. This is Cristalle. I think the review might have been lost on several people, but that's okay. I think a lot of people knew what I was talking about, but I love this one as well. Starts off very fresh, somewhat clean, crisp, and then it evolves into something a little bit dirtier with that floral heart and the woody base. But what I love about this is the emotional ride that it takes you on. It's almost like a roller coaster, and it reminds me of a violinist. Violin is a very emotional instrument. And it's a violin with a lot of twists and turns, and you know, a violin can have both high pitch and then those lower notes, and just absolutely gorgeous. It's got a little bit of that dirty tobacco note. I get both really ashy ashtray, and then again in the dry down, a green, earthy, natural, just freshly picked tobacco. But a very cold fragrance, and I like wearing this during this time of year for whatever reason. When it's cold, it reminds me of cold, almost like a cold, chilly, gloomy day. It's really emotional, you know, almost bordering on sad, or just kind of lonely, you know. And which is funny, Chanel's really great at that, is telling this story with their perfumes, especially in the feminine range. But I have a big problem with what they've been doing on the masculine side of things. And let me just give this a wipe down. And this is Bleu, and I've talked about this in one of my recent videos. And I'm trying to find, you know, the emotion in this perfume, and I'm really struggling with that. I've watched a lot of the reviews on Bleu. I've read a lot of reviews, and you know, this isn't a jab at any other reviewer, but I think a lot of people fail to connect with whatever story is behind here, or if Chanel's even trying to tell a story. I haven't been able to piece one together myself, and you know, every time I wear it, that's really what I'm going for, is like, what can I pull out of this fragrance besides just the notes? Like, I get that it smells like grapefruit, and I get that it smells like a shower gel, and it's citrusy, and some people consider it aquatic or marine-like, and it's got pine notes, and it's mentholated, and you know, I get the ambers and the sandalwoods and all that junk, but I just fail to connect anything. I fail to connect emotionally with this perfume, and that's my biggest beef with it. You know, it smells okay, it smells good for the common nose, or for the person that isn't obsessed with fragrance. It doesn't excite me a whole lot. I don't love it or hate it. I'm more on the like side of it, and I will wear it. I don't know why I choose to wear this, but the lack of emotion almost makes me feel like it's more scientific than artistic, if that makes any sense. Science is really cold and objective, and art is, you know, more on this subjective side, and it can be different for everybody. But you know, I'm not going to give up. You know, the moment the moment I turn off this video and I spray this, I'm going to find something that I like about it, and I'm going to say, oh shit. It always happens. I kind of go in on a fragrance, and then later on I find something, or I discover something. I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. And this is why I keep going back to fragrances that I've trashed in the past. It's just something that I do. And I've got one more Chanel for you, and this is kind of turned into my signature nighttime scent, and I pulled out La Pausa. This was supposed to be Jersey. I don't know how I ended up with La Pausa, but this is gorgeous in and of itself, but I do really love Jersey for the nighttime. You know, I wanted to spray it, but I get mostly a very clean, fresh, refined lavender, vanilla, tonka bean, and musks, and it's just so relaxing, it's comforting, and it really sets me up for that mood right before bedtime. And it kind of reminds me of just like fresh, clean, laundered sheets. You know, as boring as that sounds, it's not a very exciting perfume. You know, I don't know if I'd wear it. I'd take it to work and spend 10 hours with it, because it's just not that exciting. But for an evening time scent, when I want to wind down and just kind of get ready for bed, that's what I've turned to, is Jersey. And last but not least, I've kind of saved this for last purposely. This is from Armani Privé. This is Bois de Encens, and I've kind of become really into incense-based perfumes in the last little while. I think with my whole, going really deep into meditation, I find putting on 1 or 2 sprays of these while meditating really spiritual, and it kind of helps me. I really struggled wearing perfume while meditating before because they'd start to cloy and bother me, but now that I've become more focused and have been able to separate myself from thoughts, I find that they're more helpful than hurtful. So I've really turned into incense-based perfumes. I'm thinking of doing like my favorite incense-based or my favorite perfumes for meditating video, but I've always loved this, from the first time I've smelt it. It's very piney. It is frankincense-y, so full of resins. It's dark, it's mysterious, it's churchy. It's got a beautiful labdanum accord in the base that I've just recently discovered. I don't know where it's been all this time, but the labdanum on me is really thick and gooky and balmy. It kind of reminds me of ambergris. It gets a little bit dirty and earthy and almost like poopy. And I was really surprised when I found that because I've never really noticed it before. But the opening's really, it's piney and balsamic, and I get those fir balsams, definitely like a pine Christmas tree and those resins coming out. But Giorgio Armani really, he had a lot to say with this perfume, and he was a big part of the brief, and he really wanted to recreate the experience of going to church with his grandma and just sitting through a Catholic Mass. And I think this is a great depiction of that. It is one of my more favorite liturgical incenses. As simple as it is, it's not weak. It's emotionally I have a strong connection to this perfume, and I love it. It's great. It's dark. It's green. It's a true church-based incense. Interestingly, I really find a lot of similarities between this and one of my other favorites, something very new from Louis Vuitton's is Nuit de Feu. And I swear I almost feel like it's the same perfumer behind those. I think it's Michel Almirac behind this, or Michael. And the Nuit de Feu is Jacques Cavalier. And, it's just, there's just so many parallels between these two. It's unbelievable. Big blast of labdanum going right through both of them. Very piney, churchy, lots of incense. The Nuit de Feu is a little bit more, actually it's a lot more complex, even challenging. The poop note is in there, it's much more prevalent and noticeable, and that one's got oud and even more mentholated. It's quite mentholated, but both are absolutely spectacular incense-inspired perfumes. So there you go. Armani Privé, Bois d'Encens, one of my favorite incense perfumes. Let me know what you guys are wearing. Always love hearing what you guys are up to, what you're wearing, what you've discovered. I've had a few people reach out to me recently concerning my stuff. I want to tell everybody, I'm okay, I'm good. For anyone that needs to hear it or is going through stuff, I say just sit in your pain and go through it. And I don't mean just go through it, I mean go into it. And there's just so much beauty in the broken heart. You just got to discover it. Yeah. Sit in silence and feel it. And thanks for watching. Drop a comment down below, like this video, and we'll see y'all again soon.